I shouldn't be alive today, but for the grace of God. Grace has become my favorite word. There were several times when I felt I was tired of this life. I've had a lot of health challenges. A lot of it had to do with pain. I've had 8 surgeries in my life, major surgeries. Sometimes it's as if one loses hope. Will one survive? And when one goes through that route several times, there were times when I just felt, Lord, it's enough. I just want to go home and rest. Yeah, so there were times when I really felt like going home, like St. Paul, who said he wished he could depart because departure meant being with the Lord. I had been there several times.
Have you fallen and you're lying in the dust? Arise, lose yourself from the bonds of your neck.
When I think of God's grace, I can view it from different dimensions. One is protection. He's protected me from different things. I've had 2 accidents in my life. One was a car crash. A vehicle ran into me from my own side. If I had moved forward 2 inches more, I would have taken the impact, and God knows what would have happened. And then the other one was when we were traveling to the south, the back tire burst, and we somersaulted up to 7 times, according to an onlooker. It was funny, while that was going on, I was wondering, okay, at what point am I going to die? God has protected and preserved my life, so I have seen the grace of God in that regard. And the second part would be majorly my health. With all the health challenges I have experienced, I have seen God's grace over and over and over. I never knew I would live to be an adult, never knew I would get married, have children. Having biological children is one thing. God has given me more children than I had thought I would have. When I think of the hundreds and thousands of children I have in the church, it's a privilege. When I look at the school front, for all the children that have passed through RPA, there's hardly anywhere that I go to that I wouldn't meet somebody. They're saying, Mom, I feel privileged and I feel honored. Life is interesting. Life is full of bitter and sweet. You just have to decide how you want to take life. One of my principles is you don't fight every battle. And that's what I tell everyone. If you fight every battle, you will die soon. Another of my principles is I don't fight my battles. I allow God fight my battles. And when He does it in a very beautiful way. And you don't have to win every battle either. Sometimes you lose battles so that you can win in the end. You can be what you want to be if you work hard at it. Again, I tell people close to me, yes, you can. And St. Paul also says, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. And that's where I stand.
The gates that have stood against you, the doors that have stood against you, God has opened the way so that there can be an open heaven over you.
First, I'm grateful that I came to know the Lord at the time that I did. I've wondered how people live without God in their lives, because there are situations in life, circumstances in life. One comes across difficult times in life. If not that I've known God and experienced Him in special ways, I tell you it would have been difficult to go through some of those situations.
If you have not yet taken that decision on where to spend your eternity, you have yet another chance to decide where you will go after this life.
It is important, if you do want to make it in life, knowing God personally is the first step. The second thing is trusting in His grace at every point of your life. A lot of people have asked me, why don't you put your stories down? You know, the experiences I've gone through. And so I felt, well, it's important that while I'm still alive and while the brain is still active, document some of these things, leave something for posterity. Writing this book has been eye-opening and very fulfilling. The title of the book is Trophy of God's Grace. My life is a testimony of God's grace.